I'm now joined on the show by Mark and Panos from Nyther Silence. Really nice to chat with you both on this evening. How are you both doing?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for having us.
Very nice. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for
Great
the
to hear
invitation.
you. No problem. Looking forward to chatting with you both. Great to hear you're both doing well. And yeah, looking forward to chatting all about your most recent album, YOLO. But I do this with kind of every band I interview, and it's for the first time. Any artists, I'm kind of a bit predictable now. I always like to just learn a little bit about the band or the artists themselves before we do kind of delve into the art. So, can you tell me a little bit about the background of Neither Silence, really, and how you two both kind of came together and formed this band, and how long you've been going?
So in 2019, I believe it was, myself and Panos came across each other's talents on the internet, just sort of networking. I was interested in working with a producer and multi-instrumentalist. Panos was equally looking for a vocalist to work with, so we met up quite sort of immediately after sort of connecting with each other, had a meeting about the sort of things we wanted to do. And from my perspective, when Panos was talking to me about the sort of music that he's been involved in and he is involved in, which essentially is around dance music, it was something I'd never really done too much of before, but I'd always wanted to. So yeah, we had a chat literally just in a coffee shop in North London, and it just felt like days after we were just in the studio recording music, and really everything happened so quick. And our first album was ready quite quickly, which was called Urban Tales, and that was released in October 2020. Actually, yeah, so it was 2020 we met, not 2019, 2020. And yeah, we've just been literally pushing music since, and now we are proud to say we are promoting our third album. But yeah, that's from my perspective, but Panos has obviously his perspective as well.
Yeah, it was, to be honest, everything was very fast. After the first meeting, I spent in Mark the first song. Mark moved on it, and after 6 or 7 months, more or less, we had the first album ready. So it was, I think it's a kind of chemistry between me and Mark, how we work, how we deal with situations, and at the end, how's the final product, the kind of music we produce. And right now we have the second album, the Recharge, after 2 years, and after again 2 years we have the YOLO, the last one. No, the last one, I mean, the most. Uh, Come on, Mark.
The most complete album. Yeah,
Exactly.
our favorite album so far, but it's the most complete album, definitely.
Well, it sounds like you two kind of met then, and then just kind of hit it off really well immediately then, and I guess that kind of shows the powers of social media as well, and online these days, when you can kind of meet somebody and then go on to like form a band with them, form a good friendship, and make albums through it.
Yeah, see what really sort of clicked, as well as me thinking that Panos is really talented, and I still think that because he still amazes me with his talent. I think the work ethic is really, really on point with both of us. So yeah, whenever what really hits me is whenever we say we're going to do something in terms of, you know, creating music, we just do it. You know, we're lucky enough to have the continued motivation and you know the ability to just, you know, keep working and, you know, Panos and myself are both continuously coming up with new ideas just to push this forward. And I think the work ethic has got a lot to do with it as well. We don't sort of slack on each other. Panos is always creating music, and I'm always writing music, and it just seems to be a really, really good fit, really. And 3 albums later, there's a lot we have done and a lot more that we still want to do. So
the most important thing is the way we communicate. We have specific targets. We say we will do this thing and we will do it with this way, and we follow this thing, and we don't have any lack of miscommunication or whatever. We are very specific, we are very crystal clear, and the results can prove this.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit more about the music side then. I know you mentioned there, Mark, about like kind of the dance element of it, but for people that are new to Nyther Silence, can you explain a little bit about the kind of sound that you've got and where you probably fit genre-wise in the dance kind of category?
Yeah, so I'd say it's a mixture of dance, kind of synth pop and hip hop, which I think is really interesting. So, me personally, I've always sort of written and worked around the genre of kind of rap, hip hop, but I'd never really done it to dance music, and I just think it's quite interesting, and I think that's where we kind of fit, but we don't want to fit ourselves in too much of a pigeonhole. But it's a mixture of dance, hip hop, synth pop, and I just think it's great. And I'd say the influences that we both kind of connect to with this project, and I'm not saying we copy them or anything, but I think we're very drawn to bands maybe like Faithless or even a bit of Pet Shop Boys.
Also quite different then, really.
Exactly. Bands like Massive Attack, to an extent the Gorillaz. So I think it's just a fusion of music styles, and I think one thing we try and do is we try and just keep things different and keep things moving. I don't like, although we've got a bit of a signature sound, I don't like things being too predictable. So every album we have created so far has been a little bit different, and I personally feel that the 3rd album, which is easily my favorite album, is the most complete album. I think it's absolutely brilliant. But once we start working on the 4th album, I'm sure there's other things we will want to try that we may not have tried on the first 3 albums. So I think it's just continuing to evolve and continuing to change and continuing to work with new ideas. And if one of us has an idea that involves a genre that we haven't touched in the past, the way I kind of think is let's try it. Something really weird and wonderful could come out of it, or in the worst case scenario, if it doesn't work, you just move on. But I just like continuously trying new things.
I guess it keeps it fresh, doesn't it? Which is kind of a very important thing, really.
Yes, definitely, because there's things on the 3rd album that we may not have necessarily tried on the first 2 albums, and I'm sure that once we knuckle down to the 4th album, there'll be other things that we may try, that we probably will try, that we haven't touched so far. So I think just even for us, as well as listeners, but even for us, just keeping it fresh and interesting, I think is really, really good.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things. It's good to have new ideas and keep things fresh.
Yes.
Absolutely, I do get you there. But this 3rd album, YOLO, is out now, and I believe it came out back in November.
Yeah, so it was released in November 2024.
Can't believe how fast time has gone.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Panos should probably talk about the original sort of creation of the album, but I always say I mean, we had the album ready by about February 2024, but we didn't release it until months after. But I always say what my memory of that album being born or being created was back in the summer of 2023. Panos said to me we should work on a third album, and it was such a quick conversation. It was just such a comment. I didn't really, I said, oh yeah, it'll be good to work on a third album at some point, but I thought to myself, that's an idea for down the line that would be really, really good to do. And then I was in Mallorca. It would have been around maybe September 2023. And then Panos just sent over a catalogue of production work that he had done, instrumentals. And it was basically him saying to me, right, I've done my bit, off you go. You need to write to this. And I didn't see that coming. I just thought, oh, wow, okay, I've got work to do. And then I just spent weeks writing lyrics. And eventually we got in the studio and recorded the album over maybe a sort of 3 or 4 month period, and then by February we had the album ready. So it was a quick process, but I have to say that Panos actually started work on the album even before I knew that the album was being created, which was really scary in a good way. It put me under pressure, but in a very good way, and I loved every second of it. So but from your point of view, Panos.
The thing is, it happened like this. When we released the second album, I already started writing new music, and writing. We have this conversation. What do you think about the third album, Mark? He said, okay, why not? For sure, it doesn't expecting this massive bombing on his email with the music. But more or less we finished February, maybe before, about December. But as I remember well, we had 1 or 2 tracks comes after, and we added after, so we finished at February. From my perspective, is my favorite. All the songs there inside the yellow is the favorite. Also, we changed. We have one flow. We start with dance music with more electronic elements from electronica and this kind of music. In the second album, we use more trance. It was more trance and more dubster. We have some songs sounds like a dubster. In the third album, we have more elements from Euro techno, trance, Euro trance, and in general speaking, uplift music up to 140 BPMs. So it's more. It's great to this album creates to bring the people euphoria and make happy.
It sounds like it all came together really quickly then once you got working on it. And I mean, it sounds like Panos was already ahead of the curve with the planning of the album.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, even as I'm sitting here, I know I'm kind of talking about, working on a fourth album, and with my past experience with Panos, in 2 days he'll probably just send me a catalogue of about 20 songs and say, well, I've done my bit, So, but it's really, it's just really inspiring and fun, and we both love the music, so it's really good.
Is that happening then, Panos? Have you got the next set of music ready already?
No, I don't have something ready because I have a thousand ideas. The problem is how to start, put it down, and make it songs. The ideas already existing. I know exactly what I want to create, but need to start dealing with it and start combine all these components in order to create the right tracks, the right music, and to make the people have this feeling that I want to have to give.
You're right. It definitely needs to be that kind of right feeling about it. But it does sound like you have got more stuff coming then, which I look forward to hearing. But finally, have you got any kind of plans to play live or anything with the music?
Yeah, that's really the next step that we really kind of want to do and need to do. So we haven't got anything concrete at the moment, but that's something we both really need to do, and it's been a long time coming to really get out there and just play live. You know, we've got 3 albums worth of music at the moment, with more to come, and we really need to push it out live. So watch this space, but nothing confirmed yet, but watch this space, because I know individually we have been sort of rehearsing a lot. We've had a couple of rehearsal sessions together, and it really just, the music needs to really get out there on a platform of a stage. So watch this space.
Well, it sounds very exciting, and I look forward to seeing the rest of the journey for you both. But finally, if people want to follow the journey and keep up to date with everything Nyther Silence, where can they do so?
So we are on all of the main social networking sites. So we are on Instagram, X, Facebook. You can Google us. We're on all over YouTube, and the handle on all of those pages is just Nyther Silence, NYTHER and Silence. So that's our handle on all of the social networking sites, and we're on all of the main digital stores as well. So our albums, Urban Tales, which was released in 2020, Recharge released in 2022, and YOLO released in 2024. All of those albums are on all main digital platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube Music. But recognizing that most people use Spotify nowadays, but you'd easily be able to find us. So please support.
Fantastic. Well, it's been great to chat to you both again, and I look forward to seeing the rest of the journey and following it. So thank you so much to you both for joining me again.
Thank you for having us.